My name is Zhang Meng, is a school flower. In fact, since middle school, I am the eyes of those boys, all the men who have seen me there is no one who do not think of me. But what they don't know is that, compared to those childish boys, I prefer robust and full of strength men. So when I learned that the yoga club near my school needed to recruit, I immediately went to introduce myself. May I ask if you need a summer job? I said as I pushed the door toward the inside. As soon as the words left my mouth, a man's thick voice came from inside, "Come in and talk." Hearing this, I walked a little bit towards the inside, not realizing that just when I reached a corner, I was blocked by a large figure. My line of sight moved up a little, only to see that the man was tall and strong. "Here for an interview?" the man said, looking me up and down. You know, in school, I was the woman who was held in the palm of my hand, and those men had to look at my face if they wanted to get close to me. They don't know my inner desire, but at the moment the man in front of me gives me a sense of oppression that lets me know I'm in the right place. I couldn't help but move closer to him, nodding my head at him, yes. As he spoke, the man took a step closer towards me. "Nice image, you can start today." "Really? Thanks, boss." Just as I was about to lean directly into the man's arms, I heard rustling footsteps not far away. Looking back, it was a woman's with a proud figure walking inwards. "Olchen, this is the little girl who works part-time," the woman said while slightly frowning toward me. "Do a good job, shouldn't touch things, don't touch." As soon as the words finished, the woman made a wink towards the boss, and it was clear that she was the boss's wife. The boss was also very sensible, nodded at her, and then turned around to leave. However, before I could react, the boss shouted towards a short distance away, "Alan, come out for a moment, there's a new girl here, take her to familiarize herself with the environment of the yoga studio." As soon as the words fell, a man walked out. At a glance it was a white foreigner, fair skin not to mention, even the hair on his body was very thick. Different from the boss is that his looks are more handsome, his eyes are the characteristic treasure blue color, even the muscle curves on his body are a lot firmer than the boss's. I couldn't hold back my inner delight as I took the initiative to introduce myself towards him. "Hello, my name is Zhang Meng, the new summer vacationer." Seeing me extend my hand, Alan just shook it in a slapdash manner, then pointed towards me to the yoga equipment behind me. "I'll first take you to familiarize yourself with the environment of the pavilion, especially these equipments." As he spoke, he walked towards the front, and his hand kept pointing at some of the yoga equipment in front of him. Seeing him speaking fluent Chinese and that magnetic voice made me nod my head at every word he said. "Why don't I take you to experience this Dharma wheel first?" Alan said as he reached for a hollow wheel. Seeing me nod, he placed the Dharma wheel in the center of the mat and then proceeded to have me slowly lay down. I don't know if it was because I didn't normally have experience with stretching or if I was just too nervous, but my body suddenly lost balance the moment the wheel made contact. Alan was very calm, and he still held me upright with a smile on his face. Alan raised his eyes to look at me. "Your flexibility is still close. This Dharma wheel is mainly about stretching ligaments for flexibility." "Is it? Could it be because my waist is too thin? My guts have grown, even my words are full of provocation. In fact, flexibility can also be practiced later in life, and your waist is not much thin." "Coach Lu, are you telling the truth? A woman with a thin waist can also practice good flexibility." "You this flexibility still need to practice more, now you feel it properly yourself again," Alan said, his eyes still full of warmth looking at me. I squatted beside the Dharma wheel with a red face and then plopped down a little. At the moment I purposely pouted my own buttocks. I know what Alan's heart playing, and for that long-lost desire, I bit my mouth desperately, pouting my own buttocks. Just as I was filled with anticipation, there was suddenly a loud knock on the door. Before I could react, the door was kicked right in from the outside. "What are you guys doing sneaking around here?" the boss's wife said as she rushed in towards us with a face full of anger. Alan looked at the boss's wife with a curt face. "Boss lady, this is Zhang Meng's new summer job today, I'm just bringing her to familiarize herself with the work environment." But the words just fell, the boss's wife suddenly became a little crazy. She went up to me with a shrew's face, and rushed at me to give me a venomous scolding. "Familiarize yourself with the work environment? I think it's because you can't walk when you see a man. Have you never seen a foreigner and are rushing to stick it to you?" The boss's wife said and looked me up and down. It looks like there are still a few colors, be careful not to get any diseases. The boss's wife's words ruthlessly poked my heart, causing my face to turn red for a while, and in my heart there was an unspeakable grievance and shame. Alan saw the situation and directly helped me to speak. Boss lady, people, a little girl just came today, you speak so harshly for what? Yo, this is not yet eaten to the mouth, it is so helpful, like you dirty men, I hate cannot, the boss lady said to get on the hand. But the words have not finished, behind came a voice of reproach, followed by the boss will walk up, he ruthlessly grabbed the boss's wife's collar toward the back a pull. Immediately, the boss's wife lost her center of gravity and fell directly to the ground. Seeing the boss on their own hands, the boss's wife on the ground crawling and rolling said, you actually dare to hit me, you kill 1,000 daggers, believe it or not with you a 2 cuts. You go, if you have the ability, you go. The boss said looking at the boss's wife with a dark face. Hearing the boss say so, the boss's wife actually at once like a deflated ball muttered a few words, and then got up and angrily left the yoga room. At this time, the boss walked to my side towards me with a smile on his face to apologize. Sorry, my wife, she is this bad temper, you do not care, in order to express my apologies, I will give you by the day to settle the salary, and at the end of the month to give you more than 2,000 red packets, how about it? 2,000? And a daily paycheck. Why don't you do such a good thing? It's just that I was scolded by this woman a few times, so I'll put up with it, not to mention that there's also a coach like Alan. Seeing my silence, the boss thought I was going to refuse, and immediately pulled out a bunch of cash from his pocket. This 500 is budgeted for you first, don't take this too much to heart. Thanks boss. I said as my afterglow glanced at the shadow around the corner. Boss, aren't you going to coax the boss's wife? Aren't you afraid that she'll really break up with you? Coax her? The boss said and smiled disdainfully, don't worry, she can't afford to give up. Looking at the boss's confident look, my heart could not help but mutter, this boss's wife is being like this by the boss, but still not willing to divorce. This is really an odd couple. Seeing the end of today's trial work, because the boss's wife's sudden intrusion, my heart was lit up by the desire at that moment was brought to a screeching halt. But this didn't let me completely let go of the longing in my heart. After I had gradually calmed down. Zhang Meng, when did you become so horny, but also really see foreign men have no reserve at all? I kept cursing myself in my heart, it's really getting more and more shameless. And just at this time the cell phone beside my pillow vibrated twice, opened the message that Alan sent me at the beginning. Alan again launched an invitation to me, today did not take you to experience the yoga equipment, change tomorrow, I will take you to experience. That night I was in the imagination, then entered the dreamland. To the next day I will be full of hard expectations, looking forward to the arrival of the noon hour. But when it was almost noon, a woman with a rich body came to the door, saying that she was Alan's VIP customer. Seeing the woman dressed in gold and silver plus covered in big brand perfume, guess is that she has special money. Seeing the woman walk towards Alan with no one in sight, and then the two of them went to other yoga rooms with a smile on their face, I was a little bit unhappy in my heart. Just when the two of them were almost at zero distance, the side door of the yoga room was kicked straight open, and the boss's wife rushed out from nowhere, went up and ruthlessly pushed the woman to the ground. You shameless woman, how dare you let loose to such an extent? The boss's wife said with a face full of anger, pointing at the woman on the ground. The woman instantly quit and climbed up to fight back. Who the hell are you? What do you care about me? What's going on here with you guys? You can still hit people. Hearing the woman's high voice, immediately attracted some of the guests outside. The boss is not to say rushed in and slapped the boss's wife a few slaps. Then apologized toward the woman. Sorry, she is not good brain, more tolerance, this side in order to apologize, next time directly give you upgrade to private tutor. Seeing the boss's sincere apology, the woman's anger instantly subsided by half, but not far away from the boss's wife was hit by the corners of the mouth blood, that face with the eyes of the angry light, so I do not feel hairy inside. How can there be a boss's wife who pushes her customers out? And every time it's something to do with Alan. And the boss who accused his wife back then. Seeing the scene at this moment, I had an inner speculation, could it be that the boss's wife had thoughts about Alan? But there is no need to be upset with your own business. The more I thought about it, the more questions I had in my mind, so much so that I forgot all about the date with Alan afterward. It wasn't until the afternoon when I had finished everything and was about to go pack up the equipment in the yoga room that Ellen suddenly appeared behind me. What? Jealous? Say yes to noon. I'm not jealous. The noise of men and women suddenly came from the cubicle. Coach Lou, this room has a dark room. What dark room? You heard wrong, maybe it's the boss and the boss's wife, Alan said in a panic and pulled me out of the room. After I came out, I wanted to continue to pursue the question, but Alan suddenly said there was something to do with me next time. Looking at his back as he left, the doubts in my heart escalated again. So in the next few days, I ignored Alan's repeated gestures to me, and I secretly followed him several times towards the dark room of the yoga studio. With the owner always giving me red envelopes for no apparent reason, and Alan's blinking at my questions, my curiosity surged. I had just finished registering information for a client that day when I heard a rush of footsteps toward the front desk. The man's face was white and his black eyes were very thick. Quick, help me call your boss, my wife is missing. As he spoke, the man's mood swings became louder, and he began to yell nonstop in a loud line for his boss to get his wife. The boss heard his yelling and walked out with a face full of unhappiness, stepped forward and pushed him aside. What are you crazy people doing here? Don't scare my customers, I've told you that your wife isn't here with me. How can it be? My wife comes every day, or your senior VIP here, called Huang Xiaomei, the man said with eyes full of pleading looking at the boss. You help me, okay? Huang Xiaomei. This is not the woman who tangled with Alan that day. I thought as my inner doubts deepened. Obviously only just handled the VIP upgrade, how can the boss say he hasn't been here? I was thinking, I saw the man on the spot to the boss on his knees, begging for help to find his wife. In the face of the man on his knees, and in front of so many people, the boss had to get behind the Alan made a look. Just when Alan was ready to go forward to pull the man, the boss's wife rushed out. She seemed to be in a trance, pulling the man on the ground, scolding. I told you before, your wife is not a good thing. Let's let her come out alone, and now the man lost and still come here to throw a fit. You get out. The boss's wife said as she pulled and kicked the man to blow him out. The boss gave Alan another wink at that time, and only then did the similar murderous aura that was just in Alan's eyes slowly fade away. In the face of this scene, I feel more and more bizarre. This yoga studio must have any ulterior motive. After lunch that day, while Alan was practicing extra in the yoga room, I quietly posted up. Coach Lou, didn't you say you were still going to bring me to familiarize myself with the equipment? Which one are we playing today? As he spoke, he led me out of the side door of the yoga room, which was a dark and deep corridor. And on both sides of this corridor were rooms with different colored door signs. Could all these rooms be? No wonder all the people who come here are female guests, and as long as the upgraded female guests are qualified to walk through this door. But when Alan took me to the last room, I realized that my guess was too narrow, and things were far beyond my imagination. Once inside the door before I reacted, a few strong men still holding a syringe in their hands. The syringe went into my body, I quickly became disoriented, the whole head heavy. I tried to keep my will awake, but my body softened into a puddle of mud, and at this time behind the door came out a familiar figure. It was the boss. Zhang Meng. It's your fault for being so beautiful, you're worth more than those pussies. I'll make you comfortable when I inspect the goods later. The boss said and choked my throat. Do you think if your family sees you now, will they pay a high price to redeem you back to? Just as I was close to breaking down and desperately calling for help, the door was suddenly opened and I saw the boss's wife rushing in. Pai took a rolling pin and chopped her head against the boss for a while, and also broke the boss's head. Looking at the boss bleeding, my whole person seemed to wake up quite a bit. You beast, see if I don't beat you to death. The boss's wife said as she reached out and pulled me up, then pushed me outward with one force. Go out the door to the left, don't look back, go. The words just fell, I heard the shouts outside, immediately ran out of the room, has been running towards the left, but I did not expect to just see the bright light was blocked by two big men. Just when I thought I had no way out, a loud bang came from behind the two big men, followed by those uniformed officers rushed in. In fact, my identity is not a college student, but an undercover agent. Back then, my sister disappeared in this yoga studio, and when we found her, her body was already mutilated, and all her organs were nowhere to be found. In order to avenge my sister's death, I became an undercover agent and kept luring Alan, the foreign teacher, inside, just to get more evidence. In fact, the boss is in the business of human trafficking for ransom. He uses his beauty to lure those rich women, and after doing upgrades, he gives them different services, in fact, for ransom and trafficking in them to do the padding. The boss's wife used to be one of them, but because of her thick family background the boss didn't dare to scare her to death, but instead used her family's life as a threat to confine her to his side. So in order to save the women and the young girls who came to work at the yoga studio, she played the role of a tigress to beat them all away. But the boss's wife didn't make it out of that yoga studio, she died at the hands of those demons. In the end the owner was captured and I had a moment of solace in the death of my sister.